Hey all, what's up? Pete Searles here, founder of Pete's Paleo and author of Paleo Eats, Real Food, Real Simple. Here for another awesome Facebook Live video with PaleoHacks. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to give everyone a second or two to get logged in. Make sure you can hear us. Also, let us know where you're listening from. It's always exciting to see where and how many people come and check us out. We're going to do a really fun thing today, one of my favorite things. And that is conquering what to do in the paleo world without cream. I think we talked about it last time and the other videos about just kind of taking on the challenges of cooking paleo and finding ways to get around the rules, as it were. So one of my favorite things, this is one of the first recipes that I figured out how to do, was how to make a cream of broccoli soup without using cream, and really just using more of the broccoli than you ever used. So we've got a pot here. This could not be an easier recipe. You're going to use broccoli, half an onion, a clove of garlic, some salt. You can use bone broth if you have it. Otherwise, water will suffice fine, but we like bone broth. It's always going to give you a little extra flavor, a little more body and gelatin and stuff like that. So highly recommend that. And again, this is one of the recipes that you can actually find in Paleo Eats in the Real Food, Real Simple book. We do a lot of soups in there. They're very convenient to do. It's easy to make a huge amount of soups at once, and that's always really good. So we're going to go ahead and start, get the pot turned on, get it nice and hot. While that's warming up, I'm going to julienne an onion. For the onion, I've got here, I've just got it cut in half. You can see the root end is gone. If there is a little bit of a root, you just want to take out the V there, that is the root, and so that way the onion will fall apart for you when you julienne it. Julienne's real simple. You start on the side, nice thin slices. I think the biggest thing also when you're doing the julienne, don't forget to just fold it over and just do the same thing on the other side. Don't try to keep going like this. The onion will fall and you will either cut yourself and or not really have well julienne onions. So like I said, this is one of the many soups that I do. If you actually want to get more of the recipes all written out in beautiful book form, you can pick up the book in the comments section. There's a link. Right now we're doing it for just the cost of shipping, so check that out. We've got the pan going, nice and hot. We're going to use olive oil today. You can use bacon fat, you can use ghee. This is one of those ones that I really want you to learn to kind of play with it and make it your own. I'm just showing you the easiest, most basic way to do it. So we're going to do about tablespoon and a half of olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom. You're looking for some nice rippling, kind of give you waves when you move it back and forth. That's how you know it's getting hot. That sounds always so beautiful. We added an ingredient, so we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt. That's gonna pull the moisture out and allow the onions to start to caramelize themselves. Cover it so that it doesn't brown so quickly. When you cover it, you allow the steam to keep feeding onto itself, and that'll keep it from browning too fast, and it lets the caramelization happen. Now let's go on to the broccoli. And this is, again, this is another issue with vegetables and in general, is that we only use such a small amount. You have this huge plant here, and normally you just take the broccoli off. There's your broccoli crowns, and then you throw this away. This is your cream. This is the cream in the soup. Take the bottom hunk off, split it down the middle, and look at that. Look at all that fiber and water or broccoli juice, if you want to call it. This normally gets thrown out. And what we're going to do is we're going to chop this up, cook it with the broccoli florets for a long time until everything's nice and soft. And when you puree it all together, the fact that you used all this fiber and broccoli water is going to make it taste, look, and really feel like a cream soup. And that's how you get creamy broccoli paleo soup. I'm just going to chop this up. We are going to puree this soup, so do not waste any time making pretty cuts. Just get the florets off, split it down the middle, nice rough chop. Again, you can do as much of this as you want. I always just get, 1 or 2 heads at a time, but if you want to go ahead and make, 2 or 3 heads worth and freeze the rest. It really lasts for a long time. If you throw in some grilled chicken, you've got a full meal. Again, real quick, just shaving off the head. This is something that can take you 10 minutes to get started. You leave it on the stove for an hour, come back and puree it, and you're done. Boom, done. All your prep's done. Onions are nice and sauteed and soft. Today we're going to be really adventurous and we're going to add in a little garlic. Instead of peeling garlic, just smash it and then the peel will come right off. Super easy, like that. So don't ever waste your time with your fingers trying to peel garlic. You'll be there all day. Again, we're just going to slice it. This is all going to get pureed. So it's just about getting it chopped up and into the pot. It's another good thing about soup is you learn how to build flavors and learn what flavors go together and what don't. And you don't have to worry about your knife skills along the way. All the broccoli in there. Now remember, a big part of this recipe is pulling all of that juice and fiber out of the stems. And the best way to do that is with steam and a little bit of salt and thyme. Thyme as in on a watch, not as in the herb. So instead of adding a bunch of water or broth when I add the broccoli, I'm just going to give it some salt, a couple pinches or a teaspoon. Shake it up a little bit. Turn it down to low and let it go. Now you're going to leave that by itself for 20 minutes. And what's going to happen in that time is the broccoli is going to get broken down. It's going to start to liquefy. You're going to get all the moisture pulling out of the broccoli. And you're really going to start to make a soup in and of itself. And it's really, really cool. Let's throw away my little scraps here. Try to keep a clean kitchen. Before I forget, I just want to remind everybody the recipe is in Paleo Eats, Real Food, Real Simple. You can pick it up in the comment section below for the cost of shipping right now. So if you're looking for more soup ideas, snack ideas, things to do with tough cuts of meat, how to cook root vegetables, all that stuff's available in the book, so check that out. Now thanks to the magic of Facebook Live, I already had created a soup a little bit earlier. I literally just started this an hour ago. So that's what you're looking for. You can see it's totally cooked down. When you take a knife and touch the vegetables, you can see it's all completely cooked, even the fiber, the hard fiber that you would otherwise would have just thrown away. So now we're ready to puree the soup. A couple notes on pureeing things. First and foremost, you have to do it when it's hot. If you do it when it's cold, you're going to get much bigger chunks. It's much harder for the blender or for the stick mixer to break it down. Second thing, be very, very careful when pureeing hot liquids, especially in a blender. If you put something very hot into a blender and turn it on and it's on high, it will explode all over the kitchen and all over you. As long as I've spent cooking over a saute station with fire and over a grill, the worst burns I've ever given myself working in professional kitchens was when I didn't realize the blender was on high and I turned on the soup to puree and it went everywhere, including into my eyeballs and on your chest, and it's easily one of the silliest things you can do that hurts the most. So I've got it right in here, a little soup. I've got my trusty stick blender. Starting on low, just kind of working it around. And once it gets going, start at low, work your way up to high. Thank you. You can see how creamy and beautiful that is. Now this has been going for a few minutes. It's sauteing. You can hear it's kind of broken down a little bit. Here we like to use bone broth, but again, you can just use water if that's all that you have. This is for 1 head of cauliflower. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a cup of the broth. And that's it. That is the whole recipe other than salting it at the end to taste. You're just going to let that go for an hour on low, and it will give you the result that we're pureeing right now. So literally in just an hour you have this beautiful cream of broccoli soup. I really like to garnish it with some crushed pecans. These are already toasted and salted, that's it. Gives it a little texture to the soup. Then I have some aged balsamic to give it a little acid. So there's your trick to make creamy soup without any cream. This will work for cauliflower as well. You can also mix in other vegetables and just still use the broccoli and make sure that you use the stems of the broccoli. If you mix in other vegetables, you may need to use a little bit more water or a little bit more bone broth to get the mouthfeel and consistency that you're looking for. But overall, that's how we're going to go ahead and get a creamy broccoli soup. Don't forget, thanks again for checking us out. Paleo Eats, real food, real simple. You can get it at the comment section. There's a link to go get the book, and it's available now for just the price of shipping. And then for those that did tune in, how about some questions? How can I make this easier for you or answer anything else that you have?
Well, we want to thank Justine for ordering her cookbook, and Maricon reversed their diabetes by paleo, and
that's awesome.
Demetrios lost 75 pounds in 4.5 months eating paleo.
It took me a year to lose 60. I feel bad now.
Bethany wants to know if you ever make anything with the broccoli leaf.
Yes. Broccoli leaves, if you get the whole plant from the farmer's market, same with cauliflower leaves, those cook up just like collards. So you can take the stem out or leave the stem in if you're going to cook them for a long time. Saute some onions, throw the leaves in, and just leave them covered with a little bit of cider vinegar and broth and cook it until they're nice and fork tender.
Gemma wants to know, does the prolonged cooking period destroy the nutrients?
No, you're not gonna. It's not like cooking in a microwave or things like that. You might break some things down, but you're not gonna lose the whole benefit of eating broccoli. Anything that you might possibly lose, you're gonna gain from just actually enjoying the soup and using all the fiber and things that you were otherwise throwing away.
So Joe, the link to the book is actually in the comments section down below, and it's available for just the cost of shipping right now. Gail wants to know what you put on top again.
This is some toasted and salted pecans and a little bit of aged balsamic. I like the pecans because it gives it a little bit of a crunch and texture in a smooth, creamy soup. The balsamic gives it a nice acid kick because you've got a lot of savory going on, and the acid really helps cleanse the palate and makes it taste better.
Brian, thanks for the Pete's Paleo shout out. Glad you're enjoying the meals.
Appreciate it, man.
Jennifer wants to know if you could add lean meat to this recipe.
Absolutely. If you already have it cooked, you want to add it just at the end so that you don't overcook it. And if it's not cooked yet, I would puree the soup and then put it back on the pot just for a few minutes and poach the lean meat in the soup. One of the #1 mistakes that I see, especially when I watch a Swanson's commercial, it drives me nuts because even in the commercial they use dry, gritty chicken. When you're cooking meat in soup, you're just cooking it until it's done. So just throw it in there for 4 or 5 minutes until it's poached through, so that you're not cooking it and leaving yourself this dry, grainy chicken or pork loin or whatever the lean meat that you're adding is.
Patricia wants to know, if you want creaminess, could you add coconut milk?
Absolutely. You can definitely add coconut milk. It'll make it much creamier. The reason why I like this recipe as it is because a lot of times people overuse coconut milk, or it ends up being like their substitute to make everything creamy. So my trick with this is to use the fiber and the stock, but you're absolutely welcome to throw in some coconut cream and use that as your base.
Okay, we're having a request about where we got the apron, and I don't remember, but here's the close-up of the label. Hard Mill from Seattle, Washington.
Handmade.
Cecile, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think I could build a car in this thing. It's the thickest, nicest apron I've ever had by a lot.
Okay, any more questions?
All right, y'all. Thanks again so much for checking out PaleoHacks Facebook Live video. Again, don't forget to look in the comments section so you can get your cookbook, Paleo Eats Real Food Real Simple. I'm Pete, founder of Pete's Paleo, author of the book, and thanks so much for joining us. Have an awesome day.